I think it's the way that you can most strongly influence how things happen to other patients. It's not like a support group with a moan and groan. It's actually involving in policy making and real patient experience. So apart from going to Parliament, I think this is the best way of influencing patient care in the future.
What the aim is obviously to get the patient perspective into the development of cancer services and to remind the health professionals and the consultants and so on that there was a patient on the other end of their treatment, and the patient clearly had views and needed to sort of talk about things from their end of it all.
In a way, as a cancer patient, you have not a unique experience, but you have the experience. No one can take that away from you. So I chose to do something with my experience and help, other cancer patients. And sadly, there are thousands and thousands of cancer patients of all ages. New ones, new diagnosis is coming up, daily, weekly. And as a patient, having been through months and months of treatment and various treatments, I have that ability compared to maybe the next person to help.
And I've been very fortunate in my cancer journey in the fact that I've had no side effects, or very few side effects, having had cancer of the larynx, and knowing that I could have been a lot less fortunate. Because of this, you feel as though you want to give something back. And it has been quite an interesting journey in the people that I've met. I've now been to 2 conferences, and I've met people who've been less fortunate, who are still involved in the user partnership groups, and will go to national conferences and give a lot of input into the future of cancer services.
Well, actually, once I had been diagnosed with breast cancer, had my treatment, I was so dissatisfied with the NHS that I decided that I will do all I can to learn more about the cancer, to identify some of the areas that we can improve. Hence I started to go to 11s, and they told me about the network here, which I had expressed real concerns about what I had experienced, and they suggested that I try and do something, and if I could just attend and see how I feel about it. And I've been very impressed so far.
And it really does contrast with how things used to be. I mean, I had a gallbladder removed in about the 1980s, and I mean, okay, the consultant would come round and visit each day, but he would seem to be surrounded by a number of other health professionals and would stand at the end of the bed and sort of chat away about me, but really I wasn't involved in the conversation at all, and I think things have changed so much in recent years.
And that's something that we should, as professionals, realise that whatever we do to patients or undertake, if it's even a discussion, they must realise that it should be in partnership with the patient and not in isolation.
Well, for example, one of the meetings we were reading through leaflets that will be handed out to chemotherapy patients, which obviously is a very testing time for the patient, and we were looking at the wording of the leaflet from a patient's perspective, which I think was very important, and we were able to sort of change various wordings so they came across slightly sort of lighter, maybe lighter's not the right word, but slightly more, in layman's terms maybe, not so medical. Sometimes the medical jargon can sort of confuse a patient in those early stages, especially when it's all very new. So we were able to look through the leaflet and had the sort of the power, as it were, to change some of the wording and stuff, and hopefully make it nicer for the patient to read in those early stages.
Is that they talk above the patient's head without basic explanation, and some of the information that's been given is not adequate. for the patients to realise exactly what treatment they're having.
And, you know, we are able to suggest perhaps areas where these leaflets might unnecessarily raise anxiety and so on. I think somebody once said to me that, you know, it is helpful to have patients at these meetings, and even if you don't say anything, I mean, the fact that you're there reminds people constantly of what it's all about, and who basically is the most important person in the process. Each form of cancer has its own group of health professionals, and you know there is a patient in each of those groups which look at the sort of planning and development of cancer services, and you know that really I think is probably one of the more important things that we're able to do.
We are very well supported by Macmillan. You have all the training you might necessarily want or need. Facilities are here to make it a brilliant experience. You can turn a not so good thing into hopefully a very positive thing.
It does bring together everybody who's involved in cancer services, and it's able to you know, discuss everything to do with cancer, and really to make sure that those who are actually working at the coalface, so to speak, are you know, realise what's going on, and are sort of I suppose given guidance about how best to deliver the service.
Do it now. I wouldn't say time is short, but most of the people involved in the cancer scene are not younger people, and I think they've got a lot to contribute.
You know, the Cancer Network helps so many people, and you know we need the help of obviously other people sitting on the partnership group meetings and the network site-specific meetings, and the more people we can get involved, the better, just to help other cancer patients and just ease their cancer journey.
If you have experience of cancer and you really want to turn your experience into a positive event, particularly for others, then I think this is a fantastic way of doing it.
Do I get to sing now?
Sorry? You can sing, but I have to turn the camera off, I'm afraid.